That is a perfect segue into what the first team we are going to break down here in the NFC North. So the NFC North and the Chicago Bears arguably had one of their best drafts on history. They drafted Justin Fields. They got deeper at every position here. So we are going to highlight some of their key games and then give you guys their record at the end of this 15-minute segment here. So I'm going to kick it to Brandon BC Combs first, since he got his man Justin Fields right on the guess who. Combs, when you look at this 18 weeks here with the 17 game schedule, what game really pops out at you, or games, and you say, man, I cannot wait to watch this game?
Man, look, the NFC North has such a brutal schedule. Such a brutal schedule. I mean, it is. I look at the Bears' schedule and I'm like, man, from week 5 to 11, they just run a gauntlet, man.
Probably all winning teams too.
Yeah, it is absolutely insane. It doesn't just stop at the Bears. It's not just the Bears. The Vikings play that schedule. The Lions play that schedule. The Packers play that schedule. It's going to be a tough year for the NFC North, and I don't see a 2 or a 3 seed coming out of the NFC North. I think the NFC North. Well, I guess they'd have to be a 3 seed. So, yeah, I don't see a top 2 seed coming out of the NFC North. There's not going to be a bye for the NFC North in the playoffs this year.
So is there a game that you have circled that like you're like, man, this is the make or break?
Yeah. Well, I don't know about make or break. I think one of the most exciting games might be the Cardinals versus the Bears in Week 13.
Okay.
We get to see Justin Fields versus Kyler Murray. I think that'll be a really fun one to watch. I think that'll be at the point where, we'll get to the Bears' schedule here in a minute, but I think that the Cardinals versus Bears, it'll start to be where you really want to see the growth from Justin Fields come through. You really want to see, you want to see him outperform Kyler Murray is what you want to see if you're a Bears fan at that point of the season. I believe he's going to come in early in the season.
So what I hear you saying is Justin Fields, Justin Fields, Justin Fields. You think Justin Fields is going to play this year?
I do. So I actually have him coming in by week 4.
Okay. Why? Because they're 0-3 going into week 4, or just?
Yeah. So the Bengals game in week 2, I think if they lose, they're going to start the season 0-3. Their schedule, they start out with the Rams. Very good defense. That's gonna be a tough game to win in LA during week 1. Then you get the Bengals week 2. That's a game you kind of want to see Andy Dalton perform. And if he doesn't perform, they go to Cleveland in week 3. And we already talked about how good the Cleveland Browns are going to be this year. And I think that if they're 0-3, I think that's when Justin Fields comes in, because then you get the Lions and the Raiders before you get that tune-up starting. Then you get that gauntlet of Packers, Buccaneers, 49ers, Steelers, Ravens. Then you get a break with the Lions, but then you get the Cardinals and the Packers again. Like, it's going to be a tough season, man.
Okay, so you had that Week 13 matchup, the Arizona Cardinals. They're coming off the bye, coming into Soldier Field as your game to watch. Who do you have winning that game?
It's so tough to pick winners this early in the season, but obviously since we're picking the schedule, I did pick a winner in this one, and I think the Cardinals are going to pull out. I just think the Cardinals are really good. I think that defense is really good.
They're coming off of bye that week too.
I do think
extra rest.
Yeah, but I do think that it will be a very close game. I think that it'll be one of those them 23-20 type games, somewhere in that area, 23-17, something like that. But I think both quarterbacks are going to perform well, but both defenses are going to perform even better.
All right, so Wyatt, let's kick it over to you here. Same question to you. We see the 18 weeks here, 17 games schedule. What game do you have circled of that Bears schedule? Like, man, this is a much-watched game.
Look no further than week 4 whenever they play the Lions, simply because so week 1 they play the Rams. I think they lose that one because the Rams are getting heavily slept on this year. Powerful offense, extremely high-powered offense. Going to be a high-powered defense as always, so I think they lose that one. Week 2 is an interesting one for me because, of course, I don't think Justin Fields is starting at that point. It will be the return of, or not the return, excuse me. It will be the Andy Dalton revenge game in a sense. So I think Andy Dalton comes away with a big win there, and then Andy Dalton and the Bears play the Browns at the Dog Pound, and I think they get absolutely slaughtered. Then week 4, this is why it's a big one, because Justin Fields comes in. They see how poor that Andy Dalton played against the Browns. They also, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, allow Andy Dalton to get creamed by the Rams and the Browns. So that way, that Justin Fields doesn't come into the league and start off the league with, some uncertain confidence because, he got throttled. He plays two of the best defenses in football. You don't, as a rookie quarterback, if I'm looking at my schedule and in my first 3 weeks, I play the 2 best defenses in my opinion in football, the Rams with Aaron Donald and then the Browns with everybody they have. I mean, that whole defense is stacked. I mean, you play 2 top defenses in your first 3 games. So if I'm the Bears, I am not letting Justin Fields touch the field until week 4. Now, week 4, you play the Lions at home. The Lions suck. They're going to suck. And that'll be a big game there because Justin Fields will go crazy. There's no film on him at this point, and he's going to go nuts. I'm telling you right now. Justin Fields in fantasy football week 4 is a must start for me because that's the pop-off game right there. He goes nuts there. That's the confidence booster. I think Bears win that one huge too. I mean, Bears win by 30 points in that game. Justin Fields comes in, absolutely balls out, and everybody immediately starts talking Rookie of the Year after one game for him.
You guys are absolutely ridiculous. So you both have Justin Fields coming in week 4, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so do you
He
realize...
might even start the season, Buck.
No.
He might start.
If
he
Justin
is not.
Fields
He is
comes
not. I
into
don't think
training
he'll start.
camp, if he comes into training camp and goes through the preseason, if he is outperforming Andy Dalton, I'm telling you right, there's going to be a ton of pressure
Hold on,
to
listen
start
to
him right out of the gate.
I don't.
And
Honestly,
it's not very often. It's not very often that you get guys that were drafted that high that end up sitting their entire first season. It doesn't. It's happened like 5 times out of the last, I think, 27 guys that were picked in the top 15.
Okay.
They don't sit. And the only couple times that it has happened, you look at the time when Patrick Mahomes sat behind Alex Smith. You look at the time when
Jordan Love sat behind Aaron Rodgers.
Jordan. Stop. But it always happens when a team is competitive. If your team's not competitive, there's so much pressure to start your guy who you drafted, your guy who's your future, to bring him in. And I'm telling you, if they're 0-3, especially in Chicago, New York, LA, those are some big markets where there is a ton of pressure to perform and perform well. And if Andy Dalton is not getting it done come week 4, there is no way Justin Fields doesn't start that game if they're 0-3.
What are you going to say?
See, and I just think it's rough for Justin Fields here because listen to just the first 9 games. We'll go to the bye week here. The Rams, an incredible defense, top 5 defense. The Bengals, a team that's on the rise. Not a great defense, but still a team on the rise. The Browns, a top 5 defense. Then they got the Lions, a pancake game. Then they got the Raiders, an easy game. The Packers. Then they've got the Buccaneers, a top 5 defense. The 49ers, a top 5 defense. And then you got the Steelers. You play all top 5 defenses in the league. Justin Fields will play all of them if he starts week 1 through week 9. He will play all of the top 5 defenses in the league. And then it doesn't get any easier from there because then you play Baltimore. They got a good defense. You play Arizona in week 13. J.J. Watt's going to be in your face on top of Budda Baker intercepting the ball. After that, you've got the Packers again, which is always a good game because of the rivalry. But you play at Lambeau. That's a tough game. Followed by the Vikings. The Vikings have always got a good defense. Then you play Seattle at Seattle. Then you got the Giants and then closing off the season with the Vikings. So either way, I wouldn't be surprised if, I just think this is one of those years for Justin Fields where, like, we could see him literally come in at any time. Like, it could be like a Tua situation. Like, we have no clue. I have no clue. He could start week 1. He could not start at all. He could start week 10 after the bye week. He could start week 9. I mean, like, I have no clue. There's so many good defenses on this schedule spread out. And I don't think, if I'm the Bears, I play this one smart and I limit Justin Fields' time against these defenses the best I can.
So
Because
if
you
you're
don't
going to
wanna
limit his
toss
time,
Fields-
why do you start him at all? That's dumb.
If
It's stupid.
If Justin
You just
Fields
you don't want to toss
outperforms
this
Andy
kid to the
Dalton
fire.
in the preseason, Justin Fields absolutely needs to start week 1.
no,
I'm
not
sorry,
gonna
he does.
But what if we get a Josh Rosen situation? Let's say we toss this kid to the fire, okay? Justin Fields is a heck of a quarterback and going to be a heck of a quarterback in this league. Let's say we toss him to the fire. Let's say he jumps out there week 1, plays the Rams defense, throws 3 interceptions and has a fumble, 4 turnovers.
Okay.
Next week plays the Bengals.
What if he goes up against the Rams defense and he puts up 5 touchdowns and doesn't throw a pick?
That would be great, but for a rookie, that's highly unlikely.
So, all right, so if you sit him out and you don't play him versus these vaunted defenses, then next year when he plays against those vaunted defenses, it's going to be his first time playing against those vaunted defenses.
No, it won't, but he'll have in-game experience. You don't want to open a career against Aaron Donald and then follow it by the Browns defense, and then follow that by the Buccaneers defense whenever you play Tom Brady in Tampa.
I see.
I
disagree.
Follow that up with Joey Bosa, Nick Bosa.
You don't baby your quarterbacks. You want to see how they perform.
Absolutely baby your quarterback.
Why?
You don't want to kill his confidence week 1 whenever he plays the Rams and has 4 turnovers against the top defense in the league.
What if he doesn't, though? What if he doesn't? What if he goes out there and lights them up?
Then that's great. That is
But you
absolutely
don't know
awesome.
until it happens, right?
But you also want to play on the safe side. You don't just want to toss him to the fire, man. That's what the Bears are notoriously known for. Mitch Trubisky, they tossed him to the fire, and he did great at first. But then what happened?
Mitch Trubisky has maybe a 10th of the talent that Justin Fields does.
No, I absolutely agree, and I think that Justin Fields will be 10 times better than Mitch Trubisky when it's all said and done at the end of their careers. I absolutely agree with you. I just don't want to toss. I'm looking out for Justin's best interest here. I don't want to toss him into the fire week 1 or week 3 when you're playing a top defense. That is not a good way to start, because you don't week 1, first start ever, you don't want to kill a kid's confidence. Like right off the bat, boom, hey, welcome to the NFL. Here's 4 turnovers. You don't want to do that whatsoever. And I know that Justin Fields is notoriously known for protecting the ball and not having many turnovers. I know that. But this is an NFL defense. This is a top NFL defense. Literally, in his first 3 weeks, he plays 2 top 5 defenses. So and you're absolutely correct. What if he does go out and play great? That's awesome. I will be the first person to be like, hey, great job, Justin Fields. I am going to cheer for Justin Fields. I just will not cheer for his team. I will cheer for Justin, though, because I like Justin. I have been pulling for Justin for years, ever since he was in high school. I like him a lot. I like the way he plays. And I think he adds a whole new dynamic to this Bears defense. But if you don't give this kid time to mature, and you don't give this kid time to take in the game and really just take a moment to step in an NFL game and breathe for a second, he's going to hate it. I mean,
if you have to breathe in the NFL, Wyatt, you should not play the whole first season. It is simple as that. So both you are absolutely wrong. I mean, coming in week 4, absolutely stupid. If he has to sit there and breathe and has to put his toe in the water before he can jump in, don't play the whole first season. Let Andy Dalton take those lumps, because the NFC North is going to be the worst division in football, and hands down. You heard me.
Wow.
With that, be the worst in the NFC.
With that being said, Combs, what is your record for the Chicago Bears in the 2021 season?
I have them going 8-9.
8-9.
I have them going 8-9. They've got a really, I mean, it's just a tough schedule, man. I think 8-9 is good for this schedule.
See, and I'm right about in the same boat. I got them at 9-8, so I actually have higher expectations for Justin Fields and company. Like I said, I do think Justin Fields does start this year, and I have high expectations for what he does. So I'll at least give him the benefit of a doubt of a possible, like, clipping into the playoffs as a 6 or 7 seed at 9-8. I'll give them that, because they've got a tough schedule on top of they don't know who their quarterback is going to be each week. You know, you got to give Justin some time. So on top of all that, by the time Justin comes in, I don't know if it'll be enough time to save the season. So
why even put him in there if it's not a time to save the season? See, you are contradicting everything that you're saying.
If you don't give him experience, then he's going to be a rookie next year.
And it'll be just like Patrick Mahomes, right? So I had the Bears actually going 8-9 as 9-9 as well. I had them hot at the beginning and then hot at the end. But that 5-6 week stretch that Combs was saying, I had them losing most of those games through that stretch. Unfortunately,
what did you have them at?
8-9.
Okay,
same as you. So we are all right there in the 500 ballpark range.